Joining us tonight on the phone from the Mobile County Sheriff's Office is Captain Rassie Smith. Captain, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight on LawCall. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You know, Captain, before we right before we started the show tonight, we were chatting just briefly, and I said, I've been here almost 14 years. 14 years in July. I can't think of a time when tear gas was ever used on a crowd, in our area. And you were about to answer the question we were asking you if you'd ever seen that before, and I didn't get to hear your answers. Have you ever seen anything like this? What happened today in Mobile?
I haven't been a part of any type of civil disturbance like this within the city of Mobile or within the county, but I know back in the 90s they had some civil disturbance, a little bit of an issue within some of the housing projects that they had to deal with, but that was before my time in law enforcement.
Yeah, how do police approach that? We saw, more protests erupting tonight on Airport Boulevard at one point when there was a traffic stop. Tensions were rising again. You saw some water bottles being thrown at officers. Take us to the other side. When you're in law enforcement and you're dealing with a hostile crowd like that, what's that like? Have you ever been in a situation like that?
Well, basically, our responsibility is to not only, ensure the safety of the citizens, the innocent bystanders, also, obviously the officers and that have to take part in managing these situations, but we're also there to assist the protesters and the marches. I mean, that's your right. If you want to come out and you want to protest and you want to march in a peaceful manner, then we're there to assist you with that and to assure it's done in a safe manner. And that's our responsibility. Mm-hmm. Our responsibility there is to try to keep the peace and ensure that there's no harm or destruction of property, that unlawfulness that comes because of the protester. And usually those type of situations, that doesn't occur by the individuals that want to come out there and they want to speak their mind, they want to show support for whatever issue that they're dealing with or they're supporting. They're there for the majority of those individuals are there to protest and to march peacefully. Mm-hmm. Usually you have outliers. You have individuals that want to come in and kind of start issues or start a problem or start a ruckus. And those are those individuals that we really want to deal with. We want to separate those individuals from the crowd, from the peaceful protesters, so the protesters do have the opportunity to express themselves.
Right. I guess when you start seeing the bottles thrown, and that's when it starts to escalate, right? That's when police have to take some action when projectiles are being thrown at them. That's when they have to disperse the crowd. Certainly, is that kind of the turning point?
Certainly.
I'm curious your reaction, to the video that by now everyone has seen, where the officer in Minneapolis, has his knee on Floyd's neck for I think it's 8 minutes or so. What was your reaction when you saw that video for the first time?
Well, when I initially saw the video, I've been in law enforcement for 26 years. I come from a law enforcement family. My father was in law enforcement for over 40 years. So I can tell you, and I can tell any of the listening public, that anytime that law enforcement officers see or deal with a situation where one of our own has done something that's perceived to be and very well rightfully, not correct, or has I guess you could use the term tarnished the badge, or done something that's outside of the policy or the code of conduct or the code of ethics we hold dear, then we dislike it more than probably the general public, because we have great pride in our profession. We take the oaths that we take when we decide to become law enforcement officers very seriously, and it's disturbing to me. It is upsetting to me. It's heartbreaking to see the disturbances that are going on throughout this country, and that was my initial reaction.
Yeah, what's that like now, dealing with the public, when a lot of people have that perception now of law enforcement? They see that the actions of that one officer who has his knee on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and he dies. That's their perception of law enforcement. How does when you're interacting with public, does that change the dynamic there?
Well, I think that we've seen that. I think that it has changed the dynamic, and we've had incidents like this in the past, and it often does change the dynamic between your citizens and the public and law enforcement. But I'd just like everyone to keep in mind that in this country, I believe we have over 800,000 law enforcement officers. The vast majority of the police officers that you deal with on a daily basis that go to work every day and do their job, the vast majority are honorable individuals, and they just want to go to work and they want to do their job and they want to uphold the standards and the oaths that they take, and they want to protect and serve. Just like with any profession, you have individuals that maybe step outside from that line and they do things that aren't correct. They make bad decisions. They do things that are perceived and very well are incorrect from what our training and the way that we should behave. But those individuals don't define a whole profession. Just like an attorney, just like a doctor, just like an attorney, just like a law enforcement.
Right. And my producer's telling me that we have to go to break, but I wanted to get one more question in. I'm just curious how the coronavirus has changed the way you guys do business at the sheriff's office. How's that changed your day-to-day?
Well, basically, we're doing nonviolent, any type of complaint where we do not have evidentiary value or we need to respond to the scene and maybe recover some evidence, or if there's a offender on the scene where we have to place them under arrest or witnesses that we have to deal with. A lot of those type of complaints, or maybe white-collar complaints or property crime complaints, we're handling those over the phone. A deputy will actually take the report. The complainant will speak to a deputy, and the report will be generated and forwarded to an investigator, and it will be investigated. But if it can be handled over the phone to make limit exposure for both the complainant and the deputy, then we're doing those things over the phone. So that's pretty much the major impact that it's had on us within the Sheriff's Department.
All right, just limiting contact. Captain, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you taking the time to be on LawCall. Bill, did you have a question?
Yeah, no, I just want to say, Rassie, thank you so much for your service. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank your department. You're one of the good guys. I know who you are, and you're one of the good guys. And most everyone out there is a good guy or good lady. But thank you for everything, and thank you for being on the show.
Okay, Bill. Thank you. I appreciate those words. Have a good evening.
Yeah, you too. If you have any additional questions for Captain Rassie Smith with the Mobile County Sheriff's Office, you can reach him at 251-574-2423, or you can always go to mobileso.com.